Welcome to our journey into the tense days just before the outbreak of World War I. Today, we'll look at the Berlin-Baghdad Railway, a line of steel that reshaped global politics on the eve of war. This was far more than just tracks and stations. It was a daring gamble for power by Germany and the Ottoman Empire. But at its heart lay a crucial weakness. The line had to cross Serbia, the only country on the route standing outside Germany's alliance system. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. And stay until the end. We've prepared a quick quiz to test your knowledge. Launched in 1903, the Berlin-Baghdad Railway was one of the most ambitious projects of its age, a steel artery meant to connect Berlin with the heart of the Middle East. For Germany, it promised access to vital oil reserves and a secure land route that bypassed British-controlled seas.
Yes, I agree. Let's do it.
For the Ottoman Empire, it offered a leap toward modernization, faster troop movements, tighter control over far-flung provinces, and a renewed claim to strength on the world stage. But the route itself was the real problem. From Berlin, the railway passed through Austria-Hungary and then into Belgrade, Serbia. Yet Serbia was no ally of Germany. Its loyalties lay with Russia. That single stretch turned the line into a geopolitical fault line.
Steel rails stretch where empires dreamed, through mountains carved and deserts streamed, a gamble forged by steel and fire, of oil, of power, of false desire. Yet one small land outside the chain lit the spark that spread like flame.
From Berlin to Baghdad, a single iron artery of commerce and power. Serbia should be proud to play its part.
Every empire demands a path through our land. Austria to the north, the Ottomans to the south, and now Germany. Perhaps you would prefer the protection of Russia to yet another master.
The railway promised might and gain, but left the world in war and pain.
Why it mattered. For Germany, a direct route to the oil fields of Mosul and Kirkuk, and potentially a stepping stone toward India. For the Ottomans, rapid troop movement across Anatolia and Mesopotamia. For Britain and France, a strategic nightmare. A German-controlled land bridge bypassing the Suez Canal and threatening their naval dominance.
If that German line reaches Baghdad and the Gulf, their troops could be a week's march from India.
The Royal Navy would be useless inland.
They call it a railway. I call it a spear. A spear thrust at the Empire's heart.
The glittering Orient Express was already there, a French-backed icon of glamour, diplomacy, and soft power. By contrast, the Berlin-Baghdad Railway stood for something harsher: steel, strategy, and the reach of German influence deep into Ottoman lands. Caught in the middle was Serbia, small, stubborn, and shielded by Russia. When Sarajevo exploded in 1914, the fragility of that single link helped set the world on fire. The Berlin-Baghdad Railway, launched in 1903 as a flagship German-Ottoman project, was meant to connect Berlin with Baghdad and eventually the Persian Gulf. It promised Germany a direct overland route to Middle Eastern oil, sidestepping Britain's dominance of the seas. By 1914, the line was impressive, but far from finished. In Europe, passengers could already travel by existing rail to Istanbul. Inside the Ottoman Empire, new tracks stretched as far as Konya in central Anatolia, and crews were driving extensions southward toward Adana and Aleppo. But the hardest parts still lay ahead. Tunneling through the Taurus and Amanus mountains and pushing the rails across the Mesopotamian plains to Baghdad and Basra. On the eve of the First World War, The railway was therefore both a bold reality and an unfinished dream, a symbol of German Ottoman ambition that had yet to reach its strategic end. The Berlin-Baghdad Railway didn't fire the first shot of World War I, but it laid the tracks for conflict. It tied Germany and the Ottoman Empire closer. It fueled British fears for India and Middle Eastern oil. It placed Serbia at the heart of Europe's deadliest fault line. During World War I, the Berlin-Baghdad Railway became a vital lifeline for the Central Powers, though it was never fully finished. The tracks didn't quite reach Basra, but they gave the Ottoman Empire a faster way to move soldiers and supplies across Anatolia and into Syria. The Allies noticed right away. T.E. Lawrence and his Arab rebel fighters made it a mission to blow up stretches of the line, not aiming to strangle Ottoman logistics. For Britain, the railway was more than just steel and sleepers. It was proof of their deepest fear, that Germany might one day march toward India and the Persian Gulf by land, sidestepping the Royal Navy's grip on the seas. After the war, the railway fell into Allied hands, and Germany's dream of a direct land route to the Gulf was never realized. Yet its legacy lived on. It signaled the final collapse of Ottoman independence, shaped the post-war partition of the Middle East, and showed how infrastructure could become a weapon of empire. In many ways, the Berlin-Baghdad Railway anticipated the pipelines, shipping routes, and strategic corridors that would define global politics throughout the 20th century. And that's the story of the Berlin-Baghdad Railway, a line of steel that reshaped empires and still echoes in the corridors of modern geopolitics. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.